Before I start this video, I'd like to do a very quick warning. The first drawing I work on in this video has blood, gore, and exposed bones. If you don't like any of those, please skip this video or skip to this timestamp. Thank you for listening. Hey, welcome back to another video. For doing a draw with me today. First off, before I even say anything more, I wasn't planning on being gone for so long. So I've gotten away and I had to deal with that before I can even deal with YouTube. But I'm back, and that's all that matters. First, we're drawing Deerman. Now, I draw this guy a lot. And when I mean a lot, I think I've drawn him in my sketchbook 4 times, and I think he's in Instagram post 3 times maybe. But other than that, I have other drawings where I haven't posted anywhere. But I draw him a lot. He's one of my most drawn characters under another character you'll see in this video, and then one of my other favorite characters, his name is, I think it's Ace and his wife, Friday. I draw those two a lot, but they don't really come to, how I draw him. I think of, scenarios I could draw him in a lot. I just don't do it because he's a hard character to draw. Basically, just to sum it down, I really like to draw him a lot, and you can kind of see that. We're gonna talk about the girl above him. I'm so mad I didn't record it because I really liked the process I did when I was drawing her. I worked with these alcohol-based markers, and I was trying to figure out how I can how when you're on IBS Paint or Procreate or any app, and you do the overlay with the purple and you shade it down. I'm trying to figure out a way to do that, and I did the color color pencil over the colored red, and I took that red and I just went over it and it worked, and I was so shocked. Wish I recorded it because I think I ran around my room a few times because I was so shocked. It was stupid, but I was so glad it worked because it was fun. Going back to what I'm doing in the video, I'm using this brush water thingy. I don't know what it's called. Maybe I'll look it up and I'll find out. But I'm using this brush to blend out the colors, and it worked great. I think I'm not 100% sure because I was too lazy to really pick up the book I was working in. It's not my sketchbook. I don't sketch in this. To pick up the book I was drawing in and to look at it, see if it worked. It's just too lazy. But it's good if you're trying to grab colors from the marker or pencil, whatever it is, and take them onto your paper. It's good for that, but it's also kind of bad at alcohol markers. Later on in the video, you'll see I color in his teeth, and I tried using the brush to blend it out, and I didn't realize it wasn't doing anything because it wasn't wet anymore. So it was after 4 or 5 times I went over it, and I was trying to draw on it with this lighter pink, and I poked a hole in the paper right where his teeth was. Now, it's not a big hole. I don't think you can see it on video. If you do, I might just do a zoom in on it, but it was there, and it kind of upset me. That's okay. Just next time, I'll put it in my brain. My brain will, and I'll just go don't use this over it multiple times. I think I'm gonna just rant about Deerman and how I came up with him a little bit before I'm gonna start talking about what I'm doing in the video, because I work on him for a little longer before I work on the next character. But coming up with Deerman was pretty hard. I wouldn't say it was hard because you think of a deer and a man, you think, oh, he's gonna have the upper body of a deer, he's gonna have the upper body of a human and the lower legs of a deer. And I was like, okay, that's just a magical creature, and that kind of was boring to me because a lot of people do that, and I didn't want to do that, so I decided not to. But I think it was one day during my freshman year. I was drawing him, and I got really bored, and I just kind of said, his neck's a little too small. And then I took his neck and I made it bone, and that's really how I came up with that. And that's really just like how I came up with Deerman. But where I was going with this is I wanted to but I wanted to talk about the first time I colored him. The first time I colored him, he was like in the woods and he was staring dead at the camera, and the only difference really is that his hair was brown. His hair's now blonde because he has a sister now, and I decided that he and his sister were both gonna be blondes, and I think it suits him a little bit better. But I decided that I was gonna color him, and one night when I finished him, I went to sleep, and I was gonna post him the next day. I had this terrifying nightmare. I was in the woods, and I was like trying to get out, and I kept hearing someone talk to me. And in the dream, I slowly figured out it was him, and he was like, this was also the reason I gave him, like, he's like 7 foot in my head canon. He was like staring over me. He just kept asking why, and then I think he lunged at me in my dream. And of course I woke up, but to me it might have just been a nightmare, but really to me it really showed that this character that I made up as a joke at first, just to mess around, who then turned into a character to be scary, was able to scare me even though I made him. And that's why I really, really like him. But of course, there's more reasons than that. When I fully fleshed out his lore, it really drew the line of, hey, he might be my favorite character. He's not. I've drawn the last character I draw on this video multiple times, many times. But we're gonna stay on the topic of Deerman for a little longer. In the video, you see I am inking him. I'm inking out his outline for his hair, I think. And of course, I'm putting my signature on there because you have to. But staying on the topic of Deerman, I want to make a game for him. And I think if I do a really big lore drop for him, I think I might start fleshing it out then, because I've already decided what I want to do for the game, and I've already decided all the characters that would be mostly or very important in the game. And then I've already drawn the guy who turned him into this, and I haven't been able to draw his sister yet. So I think once I draw his sister and then maybe draw all 3 of them together, I think that's when I'll finally start working on, I don't know, this made-up game I've made up in my brain. But hopefully, cross my fingers. I'm not gonna knock on wood because we hope it's gonna be able to happen. And then if it doesn't happen, I think I would like to make little charms for him, you know? It would be really cute to have him have like a charm, or a before and after, which one side is his face and the other side is how he looks now. I think that should be really fun. Lastly, what I'm doing before we finally finish this and we go off to the next characters, I'm taking this white pen and I'm coloring in the whites of his eyes. If you do this, I would say put some tape over it, because that's what I did. I put some tape over, small amounts of tape over his eye, and I colored that in so it wouldn't, if I went out the lines, I could just take off the tape and, I don't know, put another piece of tape. But if you do that, be very careful about what type of tape you use, because some tape, if you don't take it off soon enough, it will rip your paper. And actually, correction, all tape, if you don't take it off quick enough, or if it has a very sticky residue, it will rip your paper. So I say make sure you get it right the first time, and if you don't, wipe it off, because it was pen, and it that pen does take a while to dry,
With Coinbase,
so
you
you
can
could
trade
just, I don't know, take
cryptocurrency
some paper
securely in
and then
6
wipe it
easy
off.
steps.
After drawing
Create an
in some finishing touches, I'm going to write the date on both of them, but the thing is I wrote the date wrong for Deerman. For her, I wrote March 29th, and that was correct. I drew her March 29th, but for Deerman, I wrote March 30th, and I even checked the date. Well, try to. While I was recording this, I couldn't scroll up to check the date, so I guessed and I thought it was March 30th, when in fact it was March 31st. But we're done. We finished both of them, and they look lovely. I'm very happy with how they came out. The next character I'm drawing is Charlie from Charlie's Inferno. Yes, that's right, the guy from the song. I've drawn him a couple of times because in my sketchbook I got bored and I took 2 random song quotes, and I got The Ballad of Jane Doe and Charlie's Inferno, and I did them on the same pages, so they would be like when I opened or closed my sketchbook, you could just go straight to the pages, and it was fun. It was definitely fun. I really enjoyed it, and I think this is the 3rd time I've drawn him. Might be 4th. I think I only draw him because I really like the song, and then also because the song got really popular, and then it turned into that FNAF song, Terrible Things by Axie. That's what it's called. I really like both of them. It was like, I found it. I'm having a little brain fart, you guys. Excuse me. I found it really cool that Axie used Charlie's Inferno as a reference, because after like listening to that song, I went to go listen to Charlie's Inferno. I slowly started like, hey, I can see how this could go to William. It was interesting. I found it so cool that he was able to pull references and like make it so like secure. I don't even know if that's the right word. Make it so like unnoticeable that I had to listen to the song 3 or 4 separate times just to figure it out. I really loved it. I also want to draw some fan art for the song, but I want to do it in a way where he's like, it's referencing one of the lyrics. I can't say any lyrics because copyright infringement. I do not want to get copyrighted, but I found it. I already have a lyric I want to use for it, and hopefully, if the Pinterest boards or something like that will bless me with a cool image I could use to use as a reference, I think that'd be really helpful. For this drawing, I really didn't use a reference, even though I should have. You'll see it come and kick me back in the butt later on, but I really should have used a reference when I was drawing this. I think I didn't because I didn't have anything around me I could reference it off of, or I didn't have anything I could search up a reference for, and I think I said it before, Pinterest doesn't really give me good, like, recommendations, and also Pinterest doesn't really give me good pins to find. Is that what they call pins? I think that's what they're called. Pinterest doesn't give me really good pins to use whenever I'm trying to find a specific one. I would love if somebody could make a website of like those goofy little pictures of dudes in those suits. Especially like the one where the guy's praying. I want to use that one so badly, but I haven't been able to find it anywhere. Like, just make like a little website you could use that has like all of them on there. That'd be really fun. And would have you be able to find more usable references. But oh yes, I forgot. I was on TikTok. So mad that TikTok's gonna get banned. But I was on TikTok and I found somebody that had this anatomy thing, and you can size up or down the person, and then you can zoom it in or farther from like how you want it to be. And I thought that was so cool. I was like, I might have to start using that, but they didn't give what the thing was called. Check the comments, check the caption, and it wasn't there anywhere. Maybe next time I'll find it. Pretty soon I'll start working on his collar and his tie. I was okay with that collar. That collar, of course, I'm not the best at drawing collars. I'll admit that. I'm pretty bad at it. I should definitely work on that. But ties, oh my gosh, I hate drawing ties sometimes. And it's like it came back to bite me in the butt for doing such bad anatomy. I mean, it was okay for me. I think I did pretty good on it, but it definitely was like HE double hockey stick, dude. It sucked, but I got it down in the end. But I really do think the worst part for me was drawing out his jacket over his suit. Jacket over his suit. The suit of his jacket. That, I think that's what really like came back. It was okay, but then I just kind of started hating it afterwards. I think I'm gonna speed it up on that one too, but that's when it really just like came back and said, I'm gonna bite you in the butt for messing up his anatomy. I think I'm gonna rant a little longer before I start working on the next thing, because I worked on his suit for a very long while. So let's get this done and over with now. Did you guys see Tamagotchi Life is getting a game? Tamagotchi Life Living the Dream? Oh my gosh. When I tell you I freaked out. I was so happy about it, and I was like, I couldn't believe it, because I thought it was just like one big joke at first, because I saw it on Instagram, and because Instagram always has like AI art and stuff like that, I thought they were joking. And then I went to go check TikTok, and the first video I get was the Nintendo Direct, and that's when I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get the new Switch, or I have to get a Switch in general, just so I can play this game, because that is childhood memories. I remember I used to go to my cousin's house, and we used to make her Tamagotchis like look really, really weird, and see who they would fall in love with. It was so much fun. But oh my gosh, that's like childhood memories just coming back. Oh, I feel so old. I'm not even that old. I'm a sophomore. Well, I'm turning into a junior, but you know, I feel old. Going off from that, I would like to draw Howl from Howl's Moving Castle. I've thought about it for a long while. I have this gift. Real question, do you guys say gift or gift? I say gift, but I have this gift of Howl, and it's the scene where he meets Sophie, and he sits down, they're all eating, and he cuts the slice of bread. I would like to draw that, because I found it really interesting. I don't know what about it was like, how do you, he was like holding it with one hand, I think, and he was still cutting it. I can't remember, but I found that really interesting. I've always wanted to learn how to draw in this Studio Ghibli style. I'm not gonna talk about it, but somebody's getting a disdain notice, I think, because they use AI to make them. No, they made an app with AI to draw in the Studio Ghibli style. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't wanna. Well, somebody else can talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. But going back to what I was originally talking about, I would like to draw that scene. I also would like to watch some more Studio Ghibli films. Right now, what I've watched is Howl's Moving Castle and Ponyo, which is just two. They're both the most popular ones. I think the next one I would like to watch is the newest one that came out. with the crane. I think that's the type of bird is. I might be wrong. I haven't seen it yet. The one with the teeth. Yeah, the bird with the teeth. I would like to watch that, but it seemed really fun. Well, not fun, but it seemed really nice to watch. Continuing with like things I would like to watch or draw, I would like to rewatch Nope. I really love Nope. I hate horror movies, and I don't really I really didn't like it at first. When I first started watching it, my this was so bad, but my grandma took us to go see it, and neither her or my sister jumped at it, but I was terrified at it. And then it was really good though. And like at first I didn't like it because I thought it took too long to like develop. But then like once we started in the middle of the movie and they finally showed us like the creature, that's when I was like, whoa, okay. But I think I would like to draw the scene where the dude, I forgot his name, I haven't seen him in a while, but the dude, he's like looking up and he has all these people behind him, and the thing, instead of eating the horse, goes towards the people and eat them. The scene right after that was pretty bad too. Oh, I'm just getting a flashback from it. I couldn't sleep that night. I could not. No. I'm trying not to think about it, but I am. I would like to draw that scene, and I think I would like to draw the scene from the FNAF movie where the little kid is leading. Well, the voice of the little kid is leading the girl to Freddy, and she looks into his head. First of all, you're stupid for doing that. I'm so sorry, but why would you think that looking into animatronic's head is such a good idea? It's okay. Going back to what I'm doing, we're working on coloring in his face, because in the album, like the picture for the album, it's like a brownish, like a very dark brown. I think so. I think that's right. I'm trying to picture it in my brain, and it is kind of like a brownish, but I wouldn't really say it's like the black I'm using. If I was doing that, I have a character who has like, you see how his brain, I would say that's his brain technically, how his brain is like kind of like white. I would call that like a void face, because I have a character who has only eyes, and his hair and his face blend in with each other. And I'd rather call that a void face than like just like a full-on black face, you know? Because somebody might take that the wrong way. I sadly don't have any like recent pictures of him I could use, because I don't really draw him a lot, but the most recent drawings of him are in my sketchbook, and I'm almost finished with my sketchbook. You can see later on, you can see my mini sketchbook, but I'm almost finished with that sketchbook, and I don't really want to open it, because one, I'm too lazy, and two, I'll suddenly get the motivation to draw. And as I'm doing this voiceover right now, it's like late at night. It's not really late, but it's late. So going back to what I'm doing, in the album cover, he has an arrow pointing down from his head and then one pointing up from his heart. You see I start working on it then. But I also always forget to do this. He has one arrow pointing from his brain and then one arrow pointing from his heart. But I always forget to draw the one pointing from his heart for some reason. And I guess it's just really a me problem, but I just forget to draw it sometimes. Oh, that arrow came out bad. I wish I fixed it, but I didn't. I just left it like that. I was too lazy. Trying to figure out what else I could talk about, because I'm almost done. Yeah. I work on his pants a little longer, and then I do the seam line for his pants, and then I do the seam line for his shoulder. Yeah, there we go. I put the seam line for his shoulder, and then I think that's really it. Yeah, I think that's really it. But then I start to, well, I was doesn't even pop up anytime. Oh, I do the shadows. I don't remember it being this long. I remember it's going by really quick. So now you can see I take my sketchbook and I'm kind of using it to see if it will fit. Spoiler warning, it won't. Sadly, it's too big. But oh, this. These are some JoJo drawings I did. I cut it short, so you can't really see it, sadly. They are up on my Instagram if you want to go look at them. But I cut him out. I cut out the paper, and I'm making sure. I do this mostly off screen. But I cut out the paper and I put it into like a rectangle. And I took that rectangle he was in and I measured it out to see if it would be big enough, and that doesn't even matter because I used my X-Acto knife and I cut it out. And I'm very tedious with this, and before anybody says anything, yes, I know I will cut my desk doing that, but I don't really care. I've already had a bunch of scratches and stuff like that on that desk, so I mean, very few tiny little X-Acto knife cuts wouldn't really be anything too crazy. But if you're gonna do this and you think about cutting out the your drawing out from the paper, be very careful. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna say it twice. Be very careful because X-Acto knives are not anything to play with. One slip up and you could cut yourself, and I don't want anybody cutting themselves just because they see somebody else using an X-Acto knife to cut out their character from the paper. Going back to what I'm doing, I'm using my X-Acto knife to cut around it. At first, I was going to cut on the line, but I decided not to because I'm not very good at cutting on the line with like anything. With scissors, I'm kind of good at it because I've had practice with scissors. X-Acto knives are like that one exception though. I'm not very good at it. Also, I was very careful not to try and cut myself, even though some of the crazy stunts I was doing there. Also, I had fake nails on, so I didn't want my hand to slip and for me to like cut through the fake nail. And these were press-ons, so I could have done that. Luckily, I didn't. But going back to the artwork, I'm still kind of upset that I didn't change that arrow I'm cutting around. It looked okay when I first did it. I think that's because I wanted to hurry up and get it over with. But I wish I did take some more time to finish it up. But it turned out pretty well, and he's cut out now. So this is me gluing him into my sketchbook, and I decided that because his head sticks out, I was going to tape his head in. You'll see me do it a little later, but I decided to tape his head down, so if like any spills or any smudges or stuff like that get onto it, it would be covered. But you don't get to see me cut on the tape because my hand covers the camera. So instead, while my hand covers, I'm going to talk about my sketchbook. In the footage beforehand, you see I skipped the first page. Let me say this in simple terms. You see me put him on the second page, not on the first blank page. I did that for a very specific reason. Very soon I should be getting acrylic markers, and I want to color the page above that with those acrylic markers, but I have to, I want to make sure they don't bleed through. The first paper I worked on them with, they didn't bleed through, but this is kind of thicker paper, so I just wanted to make sure I wouldn't have to be worried. But now I'm gluing him in, and actually I think I did glue his head. No, I made sure not to glue his head so he wouldn't. So you'll see in a little while I fold his part of his head downwards so it wouldn't stick out of my sketchbook. I I do that for all pages I have, where it sticks out my sketchbook even just a little bit. I glue it down, and then I make the part that sticks out unglued so I can press it downwards so it all fits into my sketchbook. You'll see, I think it happens pretty soon, but you'll see me take my glue and like run over all of it. It might be either in the next drawing or this one. I take the, this is it. I take the cap of my glue pen and I press it down over all of my drawing. I don't glue down my drawing. I use that so the glue will be more like pressed down against it. It doesn't really make any sense, but it kind of makes sense to me. I don't know why, but this is it. This is the finished drawing. And then I cut out another piece of paper to draw the scene where he's like talking to the angel if he doesn't get allowed into heaven. I really like that scene a lot. I actually want to draw that scene too. It looked really fun. It sounded really fun in my head to do it. So I'm kind of glad I got to do this very little sketch of it. After I finished drawing this, I do cut it out. So I did speed up the process of me drawing it and the process of me cutting it because both were like very time lengthy, and that was like supposed to be a little longer. Not only a little shorter, but this video was almost 40 minutes long. If anybody wanted to watch a 40-minute long video. But after I cut it out, I put it under his arm near the right side bottom corner. I put it there because I don't think I would have enough room to put it on the left side of him. But I could have put it under my logo, but I decided not to. And I really liked that his arm covered it up a bit, so I'm kind of glad where I put it. And then I, of course, I blew it in and I cut it out. I don't know why you can see me do it now, but I flip it. I don't know why I did that. I really didn't have a reason to. I think it just covered up his face more than anything. You can see what I'm cutting out. It's just like right there. I cover the artwork with my hand. I don't know why I did that. Now you can see I'm putting on the number of the page is 150. I have about 10 more pages to go, I think. The sketchbook's kind of weird because it originally it's like it counts for one page, but the way I count for pages is like I count the front and the back as like their own pages. I don't know if anybody else does that, but I do. So this is the character I mentioned when I was drawing Deerman. This is Tiana. She is my spidersona, and I'm going to rant about her for a little bit so we can get this video hurry up and over with. Tiana is my spidersona, but she really isn't based off of me. I only call her my spidersona because spider OC sounds boring compared to spidersona. I have two spidersonas. One is her, Tiana, and the other one is Max. His real name is Matthew, but he goes by Max, excuse me. By like age-wise, they're near the same age, but like when they were created, I think Tiana is a month older than him by that. I created Tiana when everybody was making the spidersonas, and originally she was supposed to be based off of me, but I changed that because I really liked how her face was always like annoyed, and my face isn't really like how hers is. She has RBF basically, where she always looks mad. I don't really have that, I don't think. I've never really asked anybody, but I've also really liked foster parents, that's when it really like set in that this was like a hard job, and I wanted that to be different from Max. So despite her originally being a happy-go-lucky person that slowly like got annoyed of everybody, Max was always a like cheerful, go-getty type of person. Like you could tell him his dog got ran over in the worst place possible, he'd be like, "Oh, he's in a better place." He just looks on the happy side of stuff, and I say that's really important because he is a pop star. I think I mentioned that Max is a pop star and Tiana is a detective. Remember them not being Spider-Man or Spider-Woman, and it like it doesn't really draw a difference, but it's just, like I like to see that despite their differences, they can still work together. Tiana doesn't really like Max that much, not to the point where she like hates him, but she like basically she tolerates him just because she's the one spider person she thinks she can trust. She doesn't like Miguel at all. Going back to Tiana and Max, I would love to create a comic for the both of them, and I think I would just call it like Spider Gal and Spider Tiger. Of course, Spider Tiger is Max, and Spider Gal, excuse me, is Tiana. But I, of course, would have to give them an arc and give them things to slowly let go of as they go through this comic. One thing I have decided is that Max would stop smoking. Max's universe is based in the like mid to late 70s, so when it was like pop stars and it was like really used for people just to smoke whenever. So he definitely has the habit of smoking, and he's a pop star, so I think he would lean into it more because he'd be like, "Hey, you're not smoking? Oh, you're not cool." And I think I would love for him to like slowly drop it of like because of like Tiana warning him about the bad stuff that happens during smoking, and then I think I would like Tiana to like slowly just start being more nicer to people, or I would like for her to finally like let go of the grief she had for losing her parents. I would like to keep it a secret of what happens to Tiana's parents and what really solidifies why Max stopped smoking. But I'm finally done. I finally finished the drawing, and I skipped to the next page and I write in the date. Not the date, the number is 515. Going back to what I mentioned before, I said I was gonna draw I had a drawing and I wanted to color in with acrylic markers. That is Tiana and Max. But sadly, this video is coming to an end. If you liked watching this video and you liked watching me draw and you like to hear me rant about stupid stuff or hear me rant about my OC's lore, you should definitely considering subscribing to me and definitely following my Instagram because I post most of my art on there too. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.